Just okay. Okay, so the topic for today will cover across synthetic data and privacy-preserving AI. Can I get a show of hands? Who comes from a technical background and who understands the philosophy of building AI model? All right, we got one hand there. Okay, who is more of a business or leader owner who wants to learn about the utilization and use cases of AI for the business? All right, okay. So we can get our hands about, where we should steer this discussion. All right, so without further ado, I would like to let the panelists introduce themselves. Maybe perhaps from you first, Dr. Toa. Do a quick introduction, and we go from left to right.
Thank you, Hannes. So this is Dr. Chime. I'm the founding chairman of Data and AI Literacy Association, which is a group of corporate and also individual members. So our focus is on how we can enhance you and myself AI and literacy, and so we can make use of it in our business and operation. So my background is from banking, HSBC, and also IBM and Oracle. Recently, I was the Chief Population Officer of Cyberport as well. So I'll share with you more about the innovation in Hong Kong, particularly in AI. So I'll look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, okay, we have some similar background. I used to be in HSBC as well. Over to you, Andre. Quick introduction about yourself to everyone here.
Hello, I'm Andre Long. I'm co-founder and CEO of a RegTech, ESG, and AI-enabled technology firm called Arift. My company has been founded for 5 years, and I've also been incubated from Cyberport. And Dr. To Cham, and as well as other panelists, we have met in other occasions. And right now, the speed of Gen AI and then the changes of the modeling from the Gen AI, Generative AI, all these it's been changing so fast. So we are here to be the tech enabler to integrate the traditional processes of the automation in terms of risk management with the very best use of AI. So today we're here to share the hurdles and also the opportunities that we face. And so we are very glad that you spend your time in World Summit so that we can really go deep into this very hot topic.
Thank you, Andre. Thank you. Amazing background. For yourself, Dicky?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I have a very strange background. I started off my career working in a financial vendor, Bloomberg. I helped FX traders to build APIs. After that, I joined the Hong Kong Police Force, spent 11 years doing cybercop. And during my time, I was attached to Interpol, Europol, and other law enforcement agencies for intelligence exchanges for cybersecurity mainly. And after 11 years, I joined a local conglomerate in Hong Kong called New World Development. I was their Chief Information Security Officer for Hong Kong and China. And also I took part of the Kai Tak Sports Park project as well. Within it, we have also adapted a lot of AI solutions within K11 Musea, the beautiful mall that you go to, the Kai Tak Sports Park, and the K11 Skies. And after a certain amount of years working, I decided to do something crazy. So I started my own cybersecurity consulting firm, and here I am today. Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you. And over to you, Henry. All right.
Sorry, hi everyone. So I'm Henry Binstock, and I'm the co-founder and CEO at OK Contract. So OK Contract is a blockchain company, basically. We are providing security for on-chain assets, and we do that security on-chain. So you might think, okay, but why AI then? Or if it's blockchain, I should be on the other side of the conference. No, the thing is that first, my background is machine learning. So I did research and have a PhD in machine learning from the same lab, basically in France, as Yann Lequin, which is one of the founders of deep learning and the head of AI at Meta. But beyond that, we use AI ourselves. Why? I can just give a hint, is basically to do security, we need to model what happens on chain. So we need to have a lot of data, and that will make the introduction with the topic of the panel, but to help with obtaining that data, that synthetic data, we need AI and we use AI for the good of the security of all the assets on chain, which is extremely important when we see like every day there are tens of millions or some days billions stolen from crypto because of cyber attacks. But AI, we think, is one of the ways to counter them.
Thank you, Henry. Well, Henry also just flew all the way from Singapore. So, all right. We are in 2025 right now, okay? And this is the year we have seen an explode in AI, right? Everyone is talking about it, from startup, investors, even enterprise companies. And as we know that, people keep saying data is the oil. Data is the new oil, right? Data is the new oil. But we also understand that privacy is the refinery of this. Because privacy is important on protecting on certain information. So, all right, let's start with the basic to all my panelists. I'm going to start with you, Dr. Toa, and to everyone else as well. Would you be able to define in a very, on your own terms, what is synthetic data for all of our audience here to understand? And what are the example of some real-world use case that you can share with them?
Sure. I will start with like everybody talk about AI, right? So we have a famous saying in AI world, meaning that AI is as good as your data. So if you do not have good data, enough data, you're not going to have a good AI. That's simple logic, right? But simply, it seems that we have a lot of data already around the world. But in fact, when we need to train a good model to give you good answer, good prediction, the data may not be relevant or good enough. So we need to create more relevant data so we can optimize the accuracy of our model. So by making use of synthetic data, we get a chance to get it closer to that. But there's a lot more issues that we will talk about today. So I'll cut it short. That's what my definition.
Thank you, Dr. Cham. Thank you. And over to you, Andre. What is synthetic data to you, and some real-world examples that you can share?
Yes, to me, as what Dr. mentioned, that synthetic data is one of the contributor to fit into AI, so that after certain training or fine-tuning, no matter from the large language model perspective or from the traditional machine learning perspective, hopefully the end result will give you better accuracy. And so to me, this is a combination of human feedback and also machine-generated data. Because in order to train the large language model, the data volume requirement is very high. And simply having human being to produce the manual input one by one is very time-consuming. So I think right now, the human feedback can also be automated with AI. So I think it's a combination of manual process, which takes a lot of eyeballing for all these high quality or very challenging situation that we need human input as most part. But other in between, maybe 60% or more of this data that used to be done manually, those trained data, can be done in automated fashion.
Cool, yes.
What I think is a combination.
That's true, that's true. And that's why it's important in the synthetic data. All right, Dicky?
To be honest, I'm quite conservative about all this AI stuff. Don't get me wrong, I'm excited about the technology, but my advice is to hold your horses on it, just not to go too aggressive about it. Synthetic data, riding on Dr. To Cham's idea, riding on Andre's speech, is very straightforward. Garbage in, garbage out, right? So what you put in and what you end up with just be something not useful, okay? And that's where it comes to danger of synthetic data, all right? If you do not verify or you do not have a proper methodology to verify the outcome, you will probably make a wrong decision on basing on that. So let me give you an example. So it's quick. I shared it at the back of the stage. So I have built my own chatbot at home, okay? And I named it Alpha because I want to build it for my son, for my kids to play with it. I use Llama, I use Alama. It's all completely offline. and I use RAG model. So pretty much I input my history into the chatbot. So I was born in which year, what day, what month, what food I like, where I study, etc., etc. But obviously I didn't input everything, right? I couldn't remember 100% of everything. So, but then I remember I told the bot, say, okay, Dickie's wife, her name is Alice, and Dickie was a police officer. Alice works in a bank. That's it. That was the only information I gave him. And there was a day, my son was right next to me, playing with the chatbot. Asked the chatbot, how did daddy met mom? And guess what? The chatbot came up with the answer, say, daddy met mom during a financial crime investigation. It sounds so legit. It makes so complete sense, right? My background, investigation, my wife doing in finance. But then I was thinking, at that point, I was talking to Henry and all the other experts. I said, what happened if my son didn't tell me that was the answer that he got from the board? And I didn't correct him, that was the wrong answer. So he would immediately believe in that history. Now let's enlarge it to 100 times. And if you're in a corporate making decisions without verifying it, imagine what would be your result. So that is one of the loopholes that I think it is.
That is scary. Definitely, definitely. You don't want. That's a component of ethical AI as well that we need to implement in another topic. So Henry, last to you.
Yeah. So let's try, let's say, a formal definition. I would say that synthetic data is data that you have obtained either from an AI system or from a probabilistic algorithm, which is another kind, let's say, of AI system, maybe a simpler one. And you have obtained this through probabilistic, basically, methods or means that makes a data set. And this data set has a chance of being correct, which is not 100%. But it's still very useful. So let me give an example. At OKContract, for instance, we use a model of interactions with smart contracts. And we have a new language to help specifying what an interaction is. And we have a problem. Our problem is if we are going to train developers to use our new language, in 5 years from now, we will be just fighting for adoption and running after developers, telling them, oh, please learn my language, please learn my language. But it's not going to work. So what we do instead is we are using AI, basically, to create the specifications automatically. And the result we get are specifications that are synthetic data, because they may be right, but they can be wrong. There's no human who will ever verify them. But it's still much better than nothing. And in particular, it's better than training humans to learn our new technology, because this is going to take years to happen. So I would say this is synthetic data. It's very useful, but of course, it has some limitations.
Wow, that's definitely amazing what you guys are building in OKContract as well. If anyone here would like to connect with Henry and all the other panelists here, feel free after this. Okay, so in search of all this development, AI is the next evolution, current evolution, is going to be even bigger. But what are the biggest hurdles or challenges? And this is because we have vast of experience across the panelists. You're in data and AI literacy, RegTech, cybersecurity, and you're in Web3 smart contract, cybersecurity. So I'm going to ask this question, perhaps to Henry as well as Dickie. What do you feel are the biggest hurdles or challenges when it comes to balance data utility and privacy in AI development?
Okay, let's start. And it's very important, and thanks, Hannes, for mentioning privacy. Because I would say that the hardest part is privacy. So let me tell a bit of a background here. What I didn't tell is before I was in the blockchain industry, I was working in cybersecurity already, but especially in the privacy technology space. So we were designing end-to-end encryption systems so that data can stay private even when stored on enterprise servers. And there's a lot of application, including for cybersecurity products themselves. And the thing is that when you're working with AI especially, if you want to keep privacy, then it becomes very, very hard. And in particular for cost reasons. Like you may have heard, there are some technologies called FHE, fully homomorphic encryption. And it's a way to compute over encrypted data. So you have your data, which needs to be private. It's of very high value. And you want to have it encrypted. But then you want to run machine learning algorithm to want to train a model using that data. So you can use FHE, which will be computing directly over the encrypted data. So it sounds fantastic. The problem is it's 1 million times slower than the direct algorithm that works on clear text data. And because of that, it means that it's 1 million times more expensive. So maybe you're going to look for some optimizations, and it will be only 10,000 times more expensive. So you guess what? Of course, it's a major problem. You're not going to be able to compute directly. So then you have other things. Maybe you've heard about TEAS, trusted executions environments. So that's a lesser way of computing over encrypted data, but there are new vulnerabilities if you do that. So they may end up not being useful depending on your security assumptions. So in the end, I would say it's a major problem to provide both privacy and security, especially when you're using some kind of machine learning. So right now, at OK Contract, we don't do privacy because it would be too complex to already do enough innovation as we do in the cybersecurity space, and as well doing privacy. There is a way where in the future we could do privacy, and the most promising way is something called zero-knowledge proofs, ZK technology. You may have heard the term. It comes quite often in the blockchain industry. And there are ways where it could be useful, and hopefully within a couple years, we're going to start integrating ZK proofs of what we do. But again, it's new maths, so it's very complex, and it can be only overtaken at a given size. So we need to be, let's say, a pretty already large startup to start doing this kind of work. So I would say ZK is the most promising here, but it's still the main challenge. And sorry for being overlong. Maybe.
Thank you, Henry. No, this is something really right. Dicky, is there anything you want to speak on top of that?
I just make it very short. Okay, so I will give an example of not as advanced as what Henry mentioned, but an AI solutions that we have previously explored, and it does work, but I don't know how it developed. So basically, you know, nowadays when you use your social media and whatever, you have your personal data on those apps, right? They will start doing advertisement based on your conversation and all that stuff. So, and then it comes up with privacy is a big concern, right? But in terms of enterprises, I wouldn't say they don't care, but that's what they need. They need your data to do their business, right? And then so when I was in newer development, when we were thinking about innovative work of making customers to feel more engaged when they're at K11 Museum. I hope you guys have been to K11 Museum. It's such a beautiful mall, right?
Yes.
But something you guys do not know at the back, we have explored a lot of AI intelligence or solutions into it. And here's one of the examples. So on your mobile phone, you can download the K11 app, right, for spending and then getting your coupon and all that stuff. But what you guys didn't know is what we have adapted or explored in the shopping mall. So pretty much, by the time you step in the shopping mall from whatever door, we have cameras analyzing your walking pattern. We didn't capture your face, we didn't capture who you are, but we capture your clothing, your walking gesture from one shop to the other. Let's say you would like to go to Chanel and then go to LV and then go to Gucci. And then from somewhere you start paying through our POS system, then we know your shopping appetite. then we will know your shopping profile. So what I'm trying to say is, when we talk about privacy and adapting AI, AI solution is always there. It's out there everywhere. But what is the missing piece? Missing piece is we need to utilize our human intelligence, which AI don't have, to think of an innovative way of stitching up not just one AI solution, maybe you're adapting one more that can solve the privacy issue that we are adapting.
Yeah, this is that's a very brilliant insight both to Henry and Dicky. Thank you for that. Well, okay, the next question is about I would like to address this to Dr. Toa and Andre as well. So think about now that you are very actively involved with Cyberports and you're also part of a Cyberport incubation, right? How do you believe, like, we hear synthetic data a lot is being amplified and applied for enterprise. But how do you think startups can leverage the agility and innovation to complement enterprise, especially when it comes to scaling synthetic data solutions? Dr. Toa, what do you think?
Let me try first. It's a very good question. So if you have been working for big companies like me, in some companies start from H, so you know that how big they are and how legacy they are. There's a lot of silos. And I think about 15 years ago, when I asked the CIO of that company, do you have enough data? They always say, I have tons of data. Don't need to teach me about big data. But they only talk about they have tons of data in some sort of areas. But everybody know when you want to build a prediction model, recommendation engine, you need all sorts of different types of data, right? So the typical CIO thinks that they have lots of data, they don't need help. But in fact, if you know AI, you need to have a lot of what we call alternative data, right? For example, how do I know what kind of ice cream you want to eat if you only have the banking data? Probably you don't know. As long as you tap into the social media, then you know that what kind of ice cream you like it, right? So simple as that. So a long answer to your question is, how do we make use of startups? So startup might be very genius, like three of us here on the stage. They know different way to do, for example, synthetic data. So they actually fill up the holes. Even though you are a large company or small company, you do not have enough data to generate a good model, right? So by leveraging and collaborating with startups, they have like synthetic data, machine learning, federal learning, all this kind of thing is helping to break the silos and also generate some data for you to build a better model that a single, even your large company, you're not going to achieve it. So I would say that the collaboration between large company, they do have a shortfall. No matter how big they are, how much money they got, what is the volume of the data lake, is they still lack of that kind of data and innovation. And startup can fill up the hole. So what we call the open innovation, that means open your door and collaborate, give chances for startups like them, do more sandboxes, do more proof of concept, and they will realize how powerful the startups is, and then we can work together to make the AI much better than everybody, their clients, themselves can benefit from.
Thank you, Dr. Chom. That definitely collaboration, sandbox, and that's the best open innovation. Yourself?
Yes, I give you the hands-on experience of the sandbox, what Dr. To Cham highlighted. So my company has been selected as the approved tech company as the cohort one of the Hong MA, the Hong Monitor Authority Gen AI sandbox. In that cohort, because we have lots of internal collaboration with among the 10 banks and also the other 3 tech firms, which are Alibaba Cloud, Baidu, and Forms Hong Kong, they're Olisco. We all talk together how we can collaborate together to share some of the, what we say that the data lake. The data lake could be the original source data, or how we can actually make use of some of the raw data and perform better analytics using more powerful machines, either from the Cyberport supercomputer to train the large language model, or from some of the GPU server, which are considered slightly more expensive because they use NVIDIA chip. And because of that, we partner with Hewlett Packard Enterprise. And because these servers are costly and we have no funding to perform the benchmarking, if the institution would like to implement the GenAI solution for RegTech, what kind of server they need to run on production, we have no ideas. So I think this is an ecosystem of how to implement the whole infrastructure so that we can train the data, we can operate with the original raw data, on top of the traditional application. All this has to put together in the sandbox environment so that we can test it, we can do the benchmarking, we can submit the final report to the regulator so that we can share this information to the industry, the outcome. So this kind of work is no easy. We still face challenges and it's not perfect. Still a lot of fine tuning needs to do, but it's a good step for us to stay ahead of the curve.
Thank you for sharing this. So for everyone who are in startups or early ventures, there are ways on how we can collaborate and of course work with enterprise and even like, for instance, incubators in order to, like Cyberports, Hong Kong Science Park, in order to move things ahead. So, all right, we have a few minutes left and I would like to ask these two questions. So, relevant to something like this. Maybe this is to Dickie as well as Andre, right? Okay. How would you feel the type of cybersecurity or even like security in a shape from a landscape point of view when it comes to adapting on synthetic data and AI-generated data sets? Because there are two different things. Especially, how do we handle this in these critical infrastructure sectors? So, Dickie, would you like to answer that first?
Yeah, so thank you for the question. So for my company, I'm not sure how many of you guys know next year there will be a critical infrastructure protection bill putting in place in Hong Kong. So basically the Security Bureau from the government, they have a law and regulation on critical infrastructures, on protecting their critical computer systems, okay? Nowadays, a lot of companies are adopting AI, emerging technologies into their operation environment in terms of leveraging their data to make decisions or leveraging those data to do prediction, et cetera, et cetera. But then it comes to a dilemma, right? How can you really trust those data? How can we making sure those data are not poisoned? And how are we making sure we're using the data or injecting the right data for the right model? That comes with a management that needs to come in scope. And the biggest challenge is not the technology itself. It's never about the technology. It's always about the mindset, right? The mindset about the management, the mindset about the people using those data, the mindset about security, right? A lot of people just say, when you hear the word security, they just think that it's an obstacle. They never think about it as an enabler. Enabler meaning, imagine the ideal world. Security is best in place, best practice. All your data is all cleaned up and filtered out and is properly secure and stuff like that. It should generate a good result, right? But then that comes with management perspective, say security is a waste of money because I don't see what's happening and I'm spending a lot of time on there. So I think it's a mindset that management will need to change and the whole community needs to change. And in order to do that, it needs a lot of collaboration.
Definitely. Thank you for that. I think mindset matters a lot. And Andre, with your background in RegTech, what are your thoughts on that when it comes to differentiation of these two data sets and compliance and risk compliance adhere for that?
So the data considered explainable is key because a lot of data at the end of the day is to be explainable to the regulator for regulatory reporting. And especially when you use GenAI to perform some part of the, for example, sentiment analytics or risk assessment, we need to explain where this analytics coming from based on what the base data. And the way that we handle in our solutions is we have a JSON file. For example, we need to capture large amount of links from Baidu or Google search in different languages. And first of all, we use rule-based, not anything GenAI, to capture the original data source So it means that the original data that we base on, are explainable. So I think it's just like what Dickie just mentioned. We don't want AI to guess the answer, right? Maybe they try to guess the best answer, but it's turned out to be inaccurate. So this part has to be 100% accurate because it's totally rule-based.
Yeah.
But based on the rule-based source data, which are unstructured, we want to make it structured and categorized with AI.
Yeah.
So that part is using GenAI because we believe through the fine-tuning of the large language model, then this can speed up the work of the traditional manual tasks by, like, say, 10 times. So that is a huge benefit to the actual compliance team. So therefore, the combination of rule-based and the AI is important. And also, another thing is about data privacy. Some banks are still don't trust cloud solution.
Yeah.
So there, I know there's something in between whether the cloud data can be ring-fenced, or you can have a dedicated cloud, only have your dedicated data only for your institution, but not mixed with other institution. Or most expensive way will be on-premise, 100%.
Yeah.
So in that part, you will take away a lot of doubt about data privacy or cybersecurity because it's everything within the data center of the institution. But it's also too expensive that way. So I think the combination of the infrastructure and the choice of implementation will satisfy the risk-based approach of the institution.
Yes, risk-based approach, exactly.
Right.
Exactly how, not just from an enterprise, but also startup level that needs to comprehend. So we almost, one more question that I would like to ask, and of course, at the end of the day, I would like for us to give a quick closing remark with each of us. Perhaps one final thing that I wanted to ask to both quickly, Dr. Toa, as well as Henry, what is your future landscape about synthetic data and in ethical development? Quickly, please. Yeah, Henry.
Let me start. So the future is for us to scale up everything we do to generate and verify the synthetic data that we have. And just to state this again, the synthetic data we have is information or specification of interactions on chain. Like, for instance, you are swapping between tokens. That's an interaction. You are lending some money on a lending platform, a lending protocol. That's another interaction. And those kind of interactions, there can be thousands, hundreds of thousands of them, which are legitimate. And our mission is basically to be able to generate all of them and at the same time to verify all of them. And here comes the verification part. So first, we need to scale up how we use large language models to generate all those interaction specifications. And then we're using formal methods, so which is a completely different kind, let's say, of computer science, which is about verifying the mathematical properties that we extract from these interactions so that we can get a proof that everything is correct by what has been, let's say, built by the AI systems. And then we can get, I would say, the best of both worlds. At the same time, we get the specification automatically without having developers. And at the same time, we can get the mathematical proof that the work of the AI is correct. So we can just take it and use it in our cybersecurity systems.
Thank you, Henry.
That is the future. That's where we're going, and hopefully within the next 2 years.
Wow.
Thank you, Anis.
Thank you, Henry. Lastly, Dr. Toa.
Sure. I think that's back to my very important message, is we have to enhance the data literacy of everyone in your company. Because I think probably the first time you heard about synthetic data and also a lot of pitfalls and more of benefits. I think not all of us only, but everyone in the world, everyone in your company need to have the awareness, and this is two sides of it. One is how we can make use of synthetic AI to make your model even more accurate, more powerful. But on the other hand, we have to know the risk. Not only the data privacy, but how about bias? If your data have bias, using synthetic data, you'll create even more bias. So your audience, your users in your company need to understand all this sort of risk exposure while you are enjoying the benefit of your optimized LLMs. So I think the data literacy democratize data literacy, including data governance, synthetic data, all that is not an option, it's a must.
Definitely. Risk-based approach, ensure that your risk exposure are being comprehensive. And of course, Henry, what you mentioned on ethical development, right? This is something that we need to comprehend. So I guess we're almost running out of time. And everyone, give a very big applause to Dr. Toa Cham, Andre Leung, Dickie Wong, and Henry Bienstock. So thank you, everyone, for having, and my name is Hani Sarmalis. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Hannes. Wow, keep the energy up. That's fantastic.